So welcome back to DecoyNoise and another episode of Am I the Antagonist? Am I the antagonist for telling my cousin she's a piece of crap, selfish bee, for putting herself first? So in the crazy year that is 2020, I want to make sure you guys are taking 2 breaks a day. By subscribing to DecoyNoise with the notifications on, I can remind you at every 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time to just chill out, unwind, and watch me judge some strangers online. So let's go ahead and get to the thread right now. So OP writes, I know the title looks bad, but hear me out. This is my first time posting here, and excuse my typing ahead of time. This happened a few months back, but the subject was brought back up recently, and while I myself feel I'm right, I recognize that I may have been unjustly harsh in the delivery. A few years ago, my cousin started seeing a married man. He eventually left his 4-year-old son at the time, and his wife of 10 years for her. They married soon after, and have been together ever since. I hadn't seen my cousin for over 10 years and was fairly excited to see her, her kids, as well as the rest of my family. After a good meal, a day of visiting and reminiscing, we were all sitting around a bonfire drinking spiked hot chocolate and just laughing and shooting the crap. Someone brought up the subject of how she met her husband. She said she met him at work, that they had worked on a project together, and she found him extremely attractive. Albeit, he is, I'll give him that. And she knew he was married with a child, but she didn't care and decided that she wanted him and took him. Now, to me, this was bad enough, but she proceeded in adding that after they were married, they tried the visitation thing with his son, but she didn't like him. She wanted a child of her own and didn't want a constant reminder of his life before, so she told her husband that she would only have his children and remain married to him if he cut all ties with his son. Yep, he did it. He signed over his rights to his first child for her and her potential children. She said all this with the hugest smile. She was proud of herself. Now, here's where I may be the antagonist. I didn't say anything at first, I just shook my head and sipped my hot chocolate. I must have had a bad look on my face or something, because she says to me in a loud voice, "What's your problem?" So I just let it out and I said, "So you're so insecure and selfish you can't find your own unmarried man, you have to go after someone with children, then give him an ultimatum of me or your kid. You destroyed a small child for your own selfish wants and never felt an iota of remorse for doing it. That makes you and him both a piece of crap, but you especially are a hateful, selfish B-word, and I hope you, like hell, your kids grow to hate you both. Get your crap packed and get the hell out of my house." I then went in my house and everyone left. Okay. My aunt called me the next day to lay in me for passing judgment and accused me of being jealous. My mother said I was right but should have kept it to myself. My family is split, but my brother said I just said what everybody else was thinking. So everyone, am I the antagonist? So like we typically do in DecoyNoise, we take this decoy court, I give you my knee-jerk reaction, we kind of figure it out from there, we do some we read some top comments, some controversial comments, and then we read your comments down below, do some decoy deliberation, and try to figure out who indeed is the antagonist at the end of the day. So like I'm just going to go ahead and say, so the cousin not only broke up a marriage of 10 years, broke up like the family, like the kid, he was 4 years old, so it's bad enough with just the marriage, but the kid as well, like sending him away. And the idea that your reasoning behind that was like, hey, I'm sick and tired of every weekend you seeing, I have to see the actual evidence that I'm a terrible person. A reminder of my bad deeds. Get that out of here. Like that's so terrible in itself. And it's the idea that it's like, you know, when she was at, the OP's just making a face on her or whatever, and then she's got to shout, "Oh my God, what's your problem?" If someone just sitting there like thinking in their head is enough to make you shout at them, that says more about you than it does them. And just the idea that just because the cousin can bully her jellyfish of a husband into leaving his wife, the kid, and God knows what else he has to do for her, doesn't mean that OP's gonna act like that too, because her husband doesn't have a line, but OP's line is, "Hey, if you look at me crooked, I'm gonna end your career in your family right now and just like call you out for all your BS and kick you out of the house and get the family split up." Like, I'm guessing the cousin is just so accustomed to getting away with everything they want in life, they had no idea that it's like, oh yeah, OP might actually make me face the consequences for what I do. So I mean, as I always say, if you don't want none, won't be none type of situation. Like if I sit here and I'm like, I find Cheddar and I just start flicking his tail. "Hey, what are you doing, loser? What are you doing, loser?" And he turns around and like scratches me in the retina, or in my retina. I can't be like, "Oh my God, what bad things happen to good people?" Like, no, dude, like this is your fault. So in decoy court, I'm gonna go ahead and say, You're not the antagonist. You are totally in the right. Even though that was an antagonist thing to yell at him, you're the necessary antagonist. I'm not even saying that everybody sucks here. It's just like they had it coming, and you're probably the first person that's gonna sit there and make you face consequences for the actions. So it's like, you're not the bad guy for like punishing somebody. You're the bad guy if it's unnecessary, which this was very necessary. So like I say, earn yourself that decoy koi coin by giving me a comment down below. Take a brief break, pause the video, let me know your thoughts, and then we're gonna get over to these these top comments. My mistake. So the top comment is not the antagonist, and 100% spot on with the assessment. And then they replied, I like how she had to specify an unmarried man. How much more antagonistic can you get? Jesus. And the next reply is, I had the sentiment towards my husband that if you can take him, you can have him. It isn't particularly unusual to be approached romantically by a person outside of a relationship. If the only thing holding the dude's marriage together was not getting hit on, it wasn't a great relationship. While this is a bit home-wreckery, it takes two to tango. The super crappy thing is pressuring this dude to ghost his kid, and him getting along with it. And I certainly wish this new chick luck, because it didn't seem to take much to make him stray the first time. He just might do it again once the novelty wears off. Which is very true, is like, you know, if they had the propensity to cheat, why would it just all of a sudden end with this particular cheating person? It was there like a, what was the reason that he left his first wife to go to this, to the cousin, and can that situation be, can that situation come up again in his life? And maybe like, I mean, it's hard for us to judge on that basis because we don't really know too much about the situation, but it seems like this is probably inevitable at this point, even though, and just the idea that also, yes, it takes two to tango. The husband's a piece of crap person. The cousin's a piece of crap person. The husband is allowing the cousin to do all these things, but you know, it's kind of worse on her because she said you got to cut off your son. Like the son was, how old is, so the son's like 14 at this point in time and doesn't get to have a regular relationship with their father because some chick that he works with decided, I don't like the way I feel when I see that you had a life before me, so I'm sorry, but you'll have to go. Terrible all around. But let's go ahead and read this next top reply. Not the antagonist. Were you mean? Yes. Is my opinion biased? A heck of a lot. I just truly can't stand people who want to ruin a kid's life like that, which is very true. And the next reply was, what kind of woman makes a guy choose her or his child? And what type of guy decides the woman? And what type of guy decides the woman? What? I mean, it's just, the guy's a jellyfish of a dude. Like, he can't stand up for he can't stand up for his own son because some chick wants to not think about bad things. Like, that's terrible. So let's go ahead and go to the next reply. I don't think you're in the wrong at all. I think what your cousin has done to that child is horrendous, and I cannot believe her husband went along with it. Kids aren't disposable. You all are absolutely entitled to say what you don't want who treats others like that in your home. Hard, not the antagonist. Like I'm saying, I think it's a light, not the antagonist, because she did kind of make a scene, and it was probably a family get-together. They're all over there. They're having a good time, and she decided to end it. Now, like I said, the whole, like, me flicking my cat's tail, like, yes, if I wasn't flicking his tail, he wouldn't have scratched me across the retina. I'm just making up a story right now. But just the idea was like, hey, if the cousin didn't say, hey, what's your problem? What are you looking at, huh? Like, this wouldn't have happened. But again, OP, they didn't need to do it, but then they did it just so no one's going to go too hard on her. But let's go ahead and read the reply to that. Not the antagonist, but I think the dude shares as much, if not more, of the blame. Men don't get seduced, leave marriages, and abandon kids unless they want to be, and he could have backpedaled at any point. I also gotta say, do the exes really never know how trash these people are? I know personally a lot when I see A, I knew the relationship was failing, but I thought a baby would be a magic fix, or B, I stole my partner from someone else and thought they'd stop being scummy because I was special. And that's what it is. That's a self-centeredness of getting someone to cheat on the significant other with you and then starting a relationship with them. You're very self-centered to think that you're so special, you're going to change who that person is at their core. Like I said in other videos where I don't think that cheaters, or this guy is, but cheaters aren't necessarily bad people. I just think they're people with poor impulse control. Like, everybody attractive gets prepositioned to cheat on their significant other, and it takes either someone that has a very good, like, self-control in the sense of, like, no, I don't want to hurt my, like, significant other, or just takes someone, or, I guess it's only one point, but it takes someone that has enough self-control where they can see for the big picture, not like, oh yeah, I think you're attractive, I'm gonna, you know, kind of see you on the side, or I think you're attractive, but I don't want to hurt my significant other, so I'm going to go ahead and take a pass at this. Like, you can't change that with just a new person. That's just who they are. So for the cousin to say, oh, I'm going to have kids with you, even though they just saw this guy leave his kids and leave his wife for some new thing, that's very self-centered to think that that's not going to happen to her as well. But let's go ahead and read the next reply. May have been harsh, especially hoping that her kids end up hating their parents, but everything else was spot on. I personally think there's more of a monster for allowing his genitals and giving up his kid, but it's a very small percentage, not the antagonist. Yeah, he's not the OP's not the antagonist. And the next reply was, I agree with you. He's the biggest antagonist in this situation, but wow, they're bragging on her point. That's a special kind of effed up to unabashedly recount the awful things you did. And that's the thing, is it was almost probably better for her. It wasn't just about like the hunt and getting the most attractive dude in the workplace. It was like, well, not only was he the most the most good-looking person hard to attain, I was able to steal him from somebody else, and also his blood, his child, his baby. I am so special that I can get him to just desert that as well. It almost seems like she did it for sport, where she didn't even care that, like, you know, somebody got hurt in the crossfire. It was just, hey, look how special I am. Look how good I am. He's willing to leave all that because of me. Look how good that is, or whatever. Being totally oblivious to the idea of how terrible it makes them look. But I mean, some people are genuinely like that. I've seen that before, where it's just people like it when they're flirting with somebody's significant other. It makes them feel better about the situation. It's a very bizarre thing. But let's go ahead and stop the top replies, because top replies are for perspective. Controversial replies are for entertainment. So the top controversial reply is, not the antagonist. I would have probably got violent towards the both of them. Treating children like that is never okay at all. He is a sorry excuse of a father for, but they're saying, abandoning his own kid for her, and she is a manipulative sociopath. How can she not feel horrible for something like that? Definitely not the antagonist, and you have way more restraint than me. So they got 0 votes, because that's the thing, is like, you're just having a conversation. This person's trying to like say, oh, I would have resorted for violence. Like, I can't use my words. My emotions take over my body so much that I have no control over myself. And that's not the good sentiment to have. Like, I'm seeing this here, it has bad grammar and bad spelling, and before I'd be like, look, I don't take advice from people with bad grammar or bad spelling, because, you know, you don't know if they're like some kid that has no idea how the real world works and they're just like on there typing. But somebody in the comments, in the DecoyNoise comment section, said like, hey, you can't discount bad grammar or bad spelling, because what if this is their second or third language and they're just trying to put all across a message? And honestly, I was wrong in that. Yeah, this person could be, English could be their 5th language. They're way more intelligent than me, and I can't discount their ideas or thoughts because of their bad grammar or spelling. So I'm not going to discount them for that, but just the idea that, like, yeah, I don't want to take advice of someone that says I have no control over my emotional responses. It will result in violence. Like, that's not a way to live. So let's go ahead and read this next controversial reply. Not the antagonist. Blaming only her is unfair. He is the one that married and had a child. He is the one who should love them. So they are both the antagonists, but he more so because he was the one that had the bad commitment. I really don't care about the breaking up a marriage part. At the end, the problem with 3 adults but him accepting to be separated from his child, this man is worthless, and she is a selfish person. Anyways, just saying that women always get the blame for breaking up a family when the men, it's like they were a passive subject on the matter. And that's very true, is the idea where it's like, you know, it takes 2 to tango, like they were writing up above, where, yes, if you take the cousin out of the situation, they probably don't break up the family, but it's really not on the cousin. It's not the cousin's responsibility to keep that family together. It's the husband and the wife. They should. It's his responsibility. So I don't really put it all on her. I put it on both of them, because it takes both of them to make that situation happen. One of them to want it and the other one to enable it. So yeah, they're all terrible, and both of them are the antagonists. But let's go ahead and read the next controversial reply. Everyone sucks here, but F. Being an antagonist is warranted at times. This was one of them. You can never let a crap person act like as if they aren't. Kudos for saying your piece. Your cousin deserved it, if not more. Which is true when they say everybody is the antagonist, which is probably, they say, right, everyone sucks here, which is not the wrong answer, because she did suck for, they were probably having a good dinner, and they should have just let it slide, be the bigger person, and just have this family thing, and maybe later on tell her exactly how she felt. That would probably be the best way to go about it. But I'm sick and tired of seeing all these threads and posts where it's like, hey, since everybody else is going to be super immature and they can't just be, you know, rational adults about a situation, we're going to ask that you bite your tongue, you be the responsible person, you're the only adult in the room, you take care of everything. I don't like that. I think that, you know, it's a very stoop to their level take that I have on my behalf. But I mean, that's just how I feel, because, like you guys know, I'm an antagonist myself. So let's look at this next controversial reply that got actually a lot of downvotes. Everyone sucks here, though. OP, you very, very, very little. Your delivery could have been better. Being mad without calling her the other a B word or whatever, cause takes some excuses to blame you or not look at themselves. But I think the only saints can handle situations like this better. I don't blame you. You didn't start and your message wasn't correct. The delivery was a little bad, but it's hard not to get caught up in the emotions. Cousin and hubby are huge, as of course. Okay, and I feel sorry for the kid. It's good he won't be able to interact with his horrible father and stepmom, but it still will cause you a lot of pain and anger. I hope your cousin doesn't get children. So this is obviously getting downvotes because it was kind of hard to read. It wasn't written very well, but also the idea, I hope your cousin doesn't get children. That's the idea, is they had kids already. They talked about it in the post, so they just didn't really read everything entirely. So that's why they got bad replies. And then, no, there's another person that got deleted. So the next controversial reply was, everyone sucks here. It's their business, not yours. It's not a great thing that they did that to the original family, but if they're happy, it's got nothing to do with you, whether you like it or not. The only thing I would say, though, is it is true. It had nothing to do with her. But like I said, don't start none, won't be none. OP wasn't blasting her until she said the story with a smile and was like, yeah, I punked his family. I was like, I punked the husband, his family, and his kid. And I did it. Oh, I suffer no consequences. What are you looking at, huh? What you got something to say? It's like, yeah. So she was trying to punk everybody in the thing. It's like, no, OP wasn't having it. So it's like, they say it's got nothing to do with you. Actually, it did kind of have something to do with her, because the cousin tried to, like, you know, set her sights on her to try to say, like, hey, nobody's getting in the way between me, my ideal man, and my ideal family, not even his wife or his family. So, like I always say, that's Decoy Court. I mean, I hope that you guys took a small break and gave me your feedback, because honestly, I like it when I see in the comment section where someone says, okay, here's my original thoughts, and then after they hear the entire story with all the comments, they updated or add a new post saying, well, this is what I think now, because that's honestly what the Decoy coin, where everybody kind of comes into a post thinking one thing and later on they change their mind, because that just means that you're receptive to new information. You're not so narrow-minded that you just think, I'm right, I can never be wrong, and that's what DecoyNoise is about. But as always, if you made it this far in the video, I want to say thank you for spending your time with me, kind of having a break and unwinding as you can. If you haven't already, subscribe down below with the notifications on so we can watch both videos every single day. If you haven't visited DecoyNoise.com yet, go check it out, because you can submit your own story up there as well. And if nothing else, put this on autoplay and check out the next DecoyNoise coming up next.